In a land dying from drought, while kings searched for food and people starved, a prophet hidden in the wilderness was being fed every day, not by men, but by birds. In the days of Ahab, darkness spread across the land. The people had turned away from the Lord. And only one man dared to speak the truth. His name was Elijah. A famine was coming, and no one knew how one lonely prophet would survive. Before the rivers dried, before the crops failed, God had already prepared a miracle. In the kingdom of Israel, darkness was spreading across the land. The people had forgotten the God who once led them through the wilderness. Their king ruled with arrogance and defiance, and under his rule, the nation drifted far from the Lord. But far from the palace, a prophet carried a message from heaven. His name was Elijah, a man who feared God more than kings. One day Elijah walked straight into the royal palace. He stood before King Ahab without hesitation. His words would shake the entire nation. "As the Lord lives," Elijah declared, "there will be neither dew nor rain except by my word." The palace fell silent. A drought had been spoken over the land, and drought meant famine. Famine meant hunger. Hunger meant desperation. But Elijah himself would soon become a hunted man. The king was furious. The prophet's life was now in danger. But God had already spoken again. "Leave this place. Go east and hide." The prophet obeyed without question, through dusty roads, across silent valleys, until he reached a lonely place, a small stream hidden between rocky cliffs. This place was called the Brook Cherith. Here Elijah would wait. The land around him grew hotter each day. The sky refused to release rain. Fields across Israel began to fail. Livestock weakened. But Elijah had water from the brook. Still, one question remained. How would he eat? There were no farms here, no villages, no markets, just wilderness and silence. But God had spoken one more promise. "I have commanded the ravens to feed you." Ravens, birds of the wilderness. Could birds really sustain a man? Morning arrived. Elijah waited beside the brook. The wind whispered through the cliffs. Then suddenly, wings beat against the sky. Dark shapes circled above him. A raven descended, in its beak holding a bread. Another raven followed. This one carried meat. The birds dropped the food before Elijah. The prophet stared in amazement. God had done exactly what he promised. That evening the ravens returned again. Day after day, morning and evening, bread and meat once more. The ravens came faithfully, through empty skies, across silent valleys, delivering food to the waiting prophet. No farmer provided it, no merchant sold it. God himself provided it. While the nation struggled, the prophet was sustained, not by wealth, not by power, but by obedience. Yet the drought continued. Week after week, month after month, the brook slowly weakened, until one day it stopped flowing. The water had disappeared. The ravens no longer came. The prophet stood alone again. But Elijah had learned something powerful. The God who sends ravens can also open new paths. When one door closes, another miracle begins. Because God's provision never truly ends, it simply arrives in unexpected ways, sometimes through strangers, sometimes through miracle. The story of Elijah reminds us, God sees every need, even in the loneliest places, even in seasons of drought, even when provision seems impossible, because the God who fed Elijah still provides today.